CU's handling of a domestic violence case sidelines the success of the head football coach. State legislators tackle what's being called the tampon tax, leading next on a long and winding journey into what's taxed in Colorado, including
the wall of salad.
A prosecutor tells people living in our state illegally, do not be afraid. A quick word on a crazy day in the high country. The legendary Temple Grandin tells us about her start in the industry she revolutionized.
I had a lucky break.
Next, viewers question whatever happened to the clouds that used to line our way to DIA. And we'll settle once and for all, what do you say when you turn down that street in Denver?
Zuni.
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 Next. It's pronounced next, like a hard T, next. Just imagine the headline for the University of Colorado. It would have been brutal if CU gave its football coach a fat new contract while the university investigated whether he and others hadn't spoken up about domestic violence accusations against another coach. So CU Boulder's chancellor is calling an audible, holding up the contract extension for head football coach Mike McIntyre. CU tells Next it was the chancellor who pulled the contract off the agenda for a regents meeting this week. The chancellor and regents want more information about what happened in December. That's when the girlfriend of the now former coach reported domestic violence incidents to the head coach. Former defensive backs coach Joe Tompkins was suspended, then resigned last month. That happened after 9 Wants to Know found a restraining order that his girlfriend had filed against him. An arrest warrant said that she reported being assaulted more than 100 times in less than 2 years. An article in Sports Illustrated revealed Tompkins' girlfriend reported the abuse in a phone call to head coach Mike McIntyre. Well, now the chancellor and the regents want to know what actually happened following that call before they give the coach his big payday.
The leadership on the campus in the athletic and football programs have apologized for this and said that they did not do things as they should have. So I think now the issue is what exactly happened and how can we do better?
We asked what the chancellor's inquiry is specifically trying to uncover. He and the regents want to know what policies were violated or if the policies were followed, whether those rules need to be rewritten. State legislators are discussing tampons this week. If your reaction is, who cares, then I'm guessing you don't buy tampons regularly. You've never noticed that they are taxed, right next to other medical-related items that are tax-free. But what's taxed and what isn't taxed in this state is a confusing mess, and hopefully that is of interest to everyone. Here's politics guy Brandon Ritteman.
While we wait on the legislature to sort out this controversy, there's a lot we figured you might not know about the way that sales taxes work. For instance, when it comes to medical needs, things can be different. In the pharmacy, your prescription drugs are tax-free. Over-the-counter drugs, gotta pay tax on them. But if we head to a different part of the pharmacy, some people need a shower seat to get clean each morning. This is tax-free. Some people need gloves to give themselves injections. These, you pay tax on, because the state says you can use this for too many other things. If you start talking about groceries, things get even weirder. Exhibit A, the wall of salad. These things are not taxed evenly. Let me show you. Got a bagged Italian salad, and let's go kickin' barbecue style. This one, tax-free. This one, you have to pay tax on. Why on earth would that be? Well, this one doesn't come with dressing. This one does. Also a fork. So when the state sees this bowl, it sees a ready-made meal. When the state sees this bag, it sees a bit of groceries. Gets even stranger if we talk about those bundles of firewood they sell at the grocery store. If firewood is sold to heat your home, it's supposed to be tax-free, but at the grocery store, the state says you're probably buying that to go camping, so they have to charge you tax on it. True story, if you write the state, you can get your tax money back if you were using that bundle of firewood to heat your home. We know all that because there are dozens of these fancy letters. People ask the state all the time, companies do, hey, can my product be tax exempt? And the state has to give them a formal written decision on that. We've got a link to these in our story on 9news.com. And it's not all about stuff at the grocery store. Here's a really fun one about our TV business. The power that is running this camera right now, back at the TV station, we had to pay tax on it. The power that is running the transmitter to send this signal to homes all over Colorado, we got that electricity tax-free. For Next, I'm Brandon Ritteman.
I am currently taxed in a lot of ways, but not the way that Brandon's talking about. The so-called tampon tax bill passed its first committee 7-6 today. It has sponsors from both parties, but it would come at a cost. $2.4 million. That's how much tax money Colorado collects off of feminine hygiene products each year. Tonight, we should learn the name of the suspect in custody for the bomb threat that closed the Colorado Mountain College campus in Leadville today. The threat was called into Lake County 911 this morning, and it certainly seems like the college and first responders made quick work of this, arresting the suspect, alerting students and faculty by text, evacuating them to a safe area, focusing on a backpack left in the school library, and calling in a bomb squad from El Paso County. Within the last hour, they updated that they're still working to clear building by building on campus. Classes are expected to be back on tomorrow. Another Republican in Colorado is adding his voice to those pleading with the immigrant community not to be afraid of law enforcement. District Attorney George Brockler wouldn't talk specifically, though, about President Trump's promised crackdown on people here illegally.
But in terms of what our office does, look, I'm focused on protecting this community, regardless of legal status, regardless of citizenship. And frankly, our focus, whether it's in terms of charging, prosecuting, plea bargaining, none of those things are impacted by someone's legal status. I do not want to see victims driven underground, in part because it will encourage those who prey upon the weak and the scared to prey upon them in greater numbers. And that makes this entire jurisdiction less safe.
Several communities across the country have reported what they perceive to be stepped-up immigration enforcement actions over the last week and over the weekend. We reached out to the local office of ICE to ask whether any local enforcement action had been happening. Haven't heard back from them yet. You know, we're always on the lookout for a sign that speaks to us. The message sent to high schoolers in Pagosa Springs was crystal clear. Stuck outside Pagosa High School telling students, choose one, text and drive or stay alive. The Colorado State Patrol Office out of Alamosa sent us a photo of the sign over the weekend. Hope the kids got the message. Hope all of us get that message. All right, here it is. Best part of the day. Is the A-line working? Is the train to the plane leaving no room to complain? It is. Good day for the train and RTD and riders and everyone who is rooting for Colorado's troubled little train. But Kyle, the A-line's working so well, it's one of America's best airport trains. I heard about it on another news show. All right, so here's the deal. What you heard about was another one of those dubious studies put out by a company that just wants news shows to mention its name on air for free publicity. And this particular company, which I shall not name, is a website that tracks travel credit cards. And it declared the A-line, based on transit time versus drive time, assuming no malfunctions or delays, it declared the A-line to be the fourth best airport transit in America. Local TV loved it. What a headline. So did the airport. DIA put a link to the study on its Facebook page. Now you know the backstory. If only federal regulators who have that train to the plane on probation over its issues could be so easily convinced to give the A-line a passing grade. May I make a recommendation? Point you towards something that didn't come from us but is definitely worth your time. Colorado Politics has profiled the new chairman of the Otero County Republican Party, 19-year-old Devin Camacho, the youngest serving county Republican chairman. But in Bent County, right next door, there's a young chairman who did pretty well for himself too back in the mid-70s after Watergate. Dick Wadhams, perhaps you know the name, elected county chair as a teenager as well, rose to the highest level of Republican politics in Colorado, and he's now working as a political advisor nationwide. Devin Camacho has accepted next invitation to stop by and talk politics whenever he's in town. Until then, highly recommend a very interesting and entertaining Colorado politics article about him. You can find it on the next Facebook page. While everyone was out enjoying that beautiful weather last Friday, perhaps not sitting down to watch next, we aired an interview that people talked about all weekend. Temple Grandin is a professor at CSU. She also is an autism activist and a renowned animal behaviorist. Temple Grandin will also be inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame this year. And she is by far one of the favorite people we've ever talked to here on Next.
I had a lucky break. I was asked to design it, and I walked through the door. Some people are scared to walk through the door. And when Gary Oden of McElhaney Cattle Company asked me, I said, give me 3 weeks. Because I was only at the 60% level of knowledge. And I've since have learned from that book, Lean In, that a guy will take a job at the 60% level, but oftentimes the woman has to be at the 90% level. But I said, give me 3 weeks, because it was pre-internet. And I knew that I'd have to get on the phone, we used to call it the horn, pick the horn up, because there were drawings I had to get on concrete reinforcement.
She got him and she changed an industry after that. You can see my full conversation with Temple Grandin on Next YouTube page. She is fascinating and compelling. Really enjoyed talking with her. I'd encourage you to check it out.
It was the easiest weather forecast in the world. A 100% chance of clouds each day for one spot on Pena Boulevard until the clouds disappeared. A Colorado guy appeared on stage at the Emmys last night. If you look real closely, you probably recognize him. And a missing ring returned more than a decade after it slipped off its owner's finger. Stay where you are. Next, we'll be right back. Our next question comes from Dave Skiba. Hey, next, what happened to the cloud sculptures off Pena by the airport? They glow purple at night. I miss them.
Had to dig back in the archives to find this answer. The 3 metal cloud sculptures were installed 2010 out near DIA. They were moved to a new location near the Children's Museum 2 years ago. And that is where they remain today, near I-25 and West 23rd. In fact, you can see them from the interstate if you carefully keep a close eye out as you drive by the museum.
And speaking of cloud cover, fair amount of cloud cover around today. Oh, but it could have been so much worse. We have a powerful storm system that's spinning just to the south of us, bringing that extensive cloud cover into the state. The heavy snow all south of the Colorado line, right across New Mexico, although a winter weather advisory remains out for the southern mountains for a few more hours. Outside right now, we're starting to see those skies clear. Temperatures today a little on the cool side, mid-40s along the Front Range. Not too far from where we should be this time of year. And as this low begins to shift south and east away from the area, mild air will replace it. High pressure will keep the storm track to the north of us. So we will be monitoring the snow over the Colorado-New Mexico line tonight. But as skies clear, temperatures will drop. The wind for a change will not be a big feature as we move through Valentine's Day and Wednesday. So tonight we'll watch for those clouds to move out and our temperature to drop to 23, which is where we start around 7 a.m. tomorrow. Back into the low 50s we go. That cool north wind will keep us from jumping too far ahead until the middle of the week. We're back to 70 on Thursday ahead of a weak system that comes in over the weekend. Chance for a little mountain snow, but not much moisture here along the Front Range, something we desperately need. But the clouds, speaking of the clouds, spectacular scene in Creed.
Thank you, Kathy. A talented guy from Colorado won a Grammy last night, thanks to Adele. Not our Adele, the singer Adele. I mistakenly said a moment ago it was an Emmy one. I'm the person who stumbles into winning an Emmy thanks only to somebody named Adele. But Ryan Tedder won his Grammy when Adele took home Album of the Year. There he is, right there, next to Adele and the Grammy. How cool is that? He was on stage for the big celebration. If you know him, it's for his role as the frontman of the group One Republic. He wrote the song Remedy that was on the Album of the Year. You know One Republic. It's the band that sings Apologize and Counting Stars.
Next is helping you properly pronounce places perfectly. Tonight, a street in Denver that starts with a Z and ends however people want. The man who knows Telluride better than anyone is getting out of town. And guys, some helpful tips on how to not screw up Valentine's Day. Free advice, gentlemen. Thanks to your friends at Next.
Remember our friend Jim Looney, the postman in Telluride, the guy who knows every person in town, the man who donated his talents for the fundraiser to keep the local radio station KOTO on the air. Postman Jim rocked it on Friday. We told you last week that if the guy who turns every walk down Main Street Telluride into a meet and greet session, that he would get a dream trip to Ireland if he could only help the radio station raise $15,000. Jim helped bring in more than $40,000. So an anonymous donor made good and will send the man who knows Telluride best on a new adventure to Ireland. On today's edition of What Do You Say? We're switching it up a little bit. This time, not a town name or a county in Colorado. It's a street name in Denver. Starts with a Z. You know where I'm going. It's 4 letters long and pronounced 2 different ways. A bunch of you, Donna, Peter, Max among you, asked us to figure it out. So we hit the street.
Zuni or Zunai?
For sure, it's Zunai, I'm telling you.
just pronounce it like the locals, you know.
I think it's Native American, so I think it's Zuni.
Zuni, I call it Bud Zuni service. That's the name of it, so I don't know, Zuni or Zuni.
Zuni.
Sometimes our scanners here speak in an animatronic voice, and they call it Zuni.
I think it's 50-50. We're across Denver. It always has been. Either Zuni or Zuni.
And there you go. If you have a debate about a street name, city name, county name, mountain name, we're here to help. We'll find the answers for you. Email them to us, next@9news.com, or tweet us with the hashtag #HeyNext. The story of the missing class ring has come full circle, the one that was found down at Elitch's. We tracked down the owner last week. Katie McDonald lost the ring 14 years ago, and today she was reunited with it. The ring that had Kurt Cobain's initials engraved in it. Hey, that's where she was at that time, okay? The class ring from Grandview High School, class of 2001. Lots changed since then. Katie's now married with 2 beautiful kids who are admiring her class ring. Son seems quite taken by it. So what works on Valentine's Day? How do you not screw up the special day for your special someone? Guys, because that's who we're talking to here, we got some interesting answers that might help.
We've been dating about 4 months, so I know what she likes now. I'm taking her to Red Lobster for Valentine's Day, yeah.
I think Valentine's Day is all about the love word, so I think it's for anybody that you love.
One of the dumbest things I did on Valentine's Day was I had 2 girlfriends and I thought I was slick. They kind of set me up and they said, yeah, meet me here, and I had Valentine's teddy bears, you know, and I kind of had the same thing for the both of them. When I showed up to the one girl's house, she was like, yeah, so do you know her? And she came out and I was like, oh, hey, happy Valentine's Day.
I think the best Valentine's gift I got my ex a purse, but I put a giant raw steak in it. She loved it. Everything I did is right so far.
Don't give your girl a skunk. Oh, no. No, thank you.
As long as you put some sort of effort into it, I found that that's usually good. I definitely expect dinner or something from the guy. He did a good job this weekend.
I'll just take chocolate. At least take your lady out to dinner. I mean, at least do that.
How could you go wrong, guys? How could you go wrong? Very special piece of feedback, unlike any other. Next. It's a sign. 2 signs, actually. 2 very adorable handmade signs sent to us by Lee Phipps. Rock sale. You do not have to bring money, but you can only take 1. They are asking for honest rock customers here. Don't take 2 rocks. You will be in big trouble with the kids who spent lots of time painting their rocks, putting them out there to share with you, so long as you don't steal from them. That's adorable. If you have a sign that catches our eye, send it to us with the hashtag #HeyNext or email next@9news.com. Stack of your feedback tonight. Adam Blues writes about our recommendation that you check out the article on the Next Facebook page about the 19-year-old chairman of the Otero County Republicans. Good for Devin. More young people need to get involved in civics. Devin's going to come on next soon. Watch for him, Adam. A lot of people horrified by the revelation that I am not a fan of most cheeses. I love the people who try to reach out with beer and cheese. Susan Klatt Irwin writes, beer cheese soup. Give it a try. Best of both worlds. A note from Erin Hunt, who's watching with her kids. This is safe to do. You can watch this show with your kids. And her 11-year-old Ronan says, Mom, I really like the stories. Basically because they're positive and happy. And hey, speaking of positive news, Next received its first piece of prison mail today. We'll crack this open for feedback next time, I promise.